Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at quite a fun rogue deck actually, a surprisingly fun rogue deck that I've really enjoyed playing lately in the Pokemon TCG, and that is going to be Glimmora EX. So yeah, Glimmora EX is kind of like flown under the radar, especially when it comes to like pseudo rogue troll decks. I think this is just because like Espathra is universally agreed to be the better of the two, and it kind of fills the same job. But Glimmora EX is still honestly a lot of fun, and I just enjoy Glimmora. It's a fun deck, I don't need much more of a reason than that to make a video on it. So yeah, this is Glimmora EX. So 270 HP means it's not like the tankiest Pokemon out there, but still better than nothing, I guess. Has the ability Dust Field, which is honestly the key reason you even play Glimmora. And that says as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent can't have more than 3 benched Pokemon. And if they have more than that, so 4 or more, then they do have to discard them down to 3 whenever Glimmora comes into the active spot. So yeah, very potent ability, really does shut down quite a lot of decks that would otherwise rely on like heavy bench space. So things like Raikou and Terabagos, of course, you disrupt quite heavily. And I mean, you're already hitting for weakness on Raikou, so, yeah, you're hitting for weakness on Terabagos as well. So yeah, this is very much the anti-Terabagos, anti-Raikou kind of deck. But yeah, very powerful ability nonetheless. Also very disruptive against the likes of Charizard, for example. So that's cool. Also has the attack Poisonous Gem for 2 fighting energy. Does 140 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. And to be honest, I think the big problem with this deck used to be the fact that Poisonous Gem just wasn't really doing a lot of damage without Hisuian Sneasler. And of course, you don't really want to bench anything that's not Glimmora EX, because then your opponent could easily gust around it and, get their bench spaces back, basically. So, that was kind of annoying. However, we do have a trainer card, actually. May as well go and talk about it now. Is the trainer card Perilous Jungle, which just increases poison damage by +2. So it just means that instead of doing 140, you're effectively doing 170, which does mean that you're effectively getting a 2-shot on things like Charizard, which is cool. Now, I'm not saying Charizard is already like a great matchup or, anything like that, such as Dragapult, but it just makes them a bit easier, We also have this other attacker in the form of Glimmora Regular, so Glimmora Single Prize. This does have the very powerful ability Shattering Crystal, which has a 50% chance basically not to just take a prize card, which is, that's nice. Also has the attack Poison Petals, which for 1 fighting energy, so a bit more payable than Glimmora EX's 2 attack cost. Poison Petals says your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Wow, what a surprise. But during Pokemon Checkup, put 6 damage counters on that Pokemon instead of 1. So if you combine this with Jungle, then all of a sudden you're putting 9 damage counters between turns on Pokemon. So you can KO some like small single price Pokemon like Mimikyu, for example, but it's mainly here for that very annoying ability, which does give it a 50% chance to just not give up a prize. So you can essentially get like a free hit on a big Pokemon, and then Glimmora might not give up a prize, and then you can maybe finish them off with Glimmora EX. Well, that's kind of like the plan, I guess, the pseudo plan. But you don't really need more than 2 copies, and to be honest, if you want to just play 4 of the EX and then like 1 of a single prize, you could also just do that. So yeah. Also playing 4 Glimmet, I've opted to play the 40 HP one, which is a bit risky. It does have a very powerful attack Ascension, which means if you have to go second, you can just attach an energy and then use Ascension, and boom, you've got a Glimmora EX to lead the charge with. Of course, there is one major downside to this, and that it's Weakness Grass, 40 HP. So if you're not careful, then Buddy might actually KO Glimmet and get a prize card, and that's obviously quite funny and very annoying. But just make sure you can actually use Ascension and evolve it and stuff, and just be careful of that. But aside from that, it's a great card really. So yeah, only 9 basic fighting energy, only 9 Pokemon, and a whopping 42 trainers. Now, this deck, aside from its Pokemon energy, like the trainers are what you can customize the most, I would say. It's very easy to customize this deck, fit it to your liking. I'm sort of leaning into like pseudo disruption. I've got some fighting type support in here. I've got Rock Chestplate, which has honestly been really good for just reducing damage, which is great because, of course, Glimmora is kind of fragile. Also got Grant to increase your damage by +30 for a turn, which isn't super relevant all the time, but, it's still a nice option to have, I would say. Got Earthen Vessel to find some energy. 2 Judge, which you don't always see. Each player shovels a hand to a deck and then draws 4. Just because, as well, with this deck, you don't actually have a draw engine. So it's cheaper in that sense. You don't need Pheasantipity or whatever. But at the same time, it does get a bit risky towards the late game. So having Judge is quite nice. Also got Eri, or Eri. Your opponent reveals their hand. It's gone really blurry. Your opponent reveals their hand, and yeah, blurry Eri. and you discard up to 2 item cards you find there. Can be quite nice, but again, it's just a bit of flavor. Like, you don't have to run all these disruption supporters, that you can just run what you want. But, you know, I wasn't really going to pass up a chance to run Giovanni's Charisma, which, you know, it's not the best energy accelerator in the world, absolutely not, but it's Giovanni. Like, I don't get to play Giovanni in every deck. I know this isn't really sound reasoning for deck building, like you're supposed to play the most optimal cards, but every once in a while, I just want to kick back, relax, and just play whatever. And this deck is a great opportunity to do that. Also got Rocky Helmet, which, yeah, is a tool card you don't see very often, but when this Pokemon gets attacked, you get to put an extra 2 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's like a pseudo plus 20 damage modifier. Yes, no, not really, but, you know, it's still helpful sometimes. Also got 3 Energy Sticker, which is supposed to help with energy acceleration, but to be honest, I rarely use these. So, you know, it's one of those things where if you don't have them, you don't have to use them, but, you know, they're there as an option, because you don't really want to use XP share in this list. You want to use things like Rock Chestplate, so, you know, that's quite nice, but, you know, it's still there as a nice option. Got 4 Crushing Hammers, which, yeah, not the best, because there's just so many ways to accelerate energy in Standard, but if you can disrupt them, take out their energy acceleration with the 3 bench thing, then maybe discard some energy, you could put your opponent in some tricky situations. So yeah, Crushing Hammers need to be respected. Also got Prime Catcher in here. There's honestly no short of the amount of A-specs you could play. I did consider Hero's Cape just for additional 100 HP, which honestly might not be a bad shout either. So, you know, just something to consider for the future. But yeah, that's kind of it for trainers. Nothing really much more to say about the deck other than, you know, it's obviously not super competitive, but it is a lot of fun. So if, you know, if you just want to kick back, relax, try out some fun games with Glimmora, then I do recommend it. So yeah, it's been Iono PAL, and yeah, thank you for watching. Okay, so for a first turn, that really wasn't so bad. Got a Glimmet in the active spot with an energy, 2 Glimmet on the bench. Can't really ask for much more, but it does look like, unfortunately, we are against Hydrapple EX Ogerpon, which, yeah, is a bit of a rough matchup, sadly, just because we are, of course, weakness grass. So, yeah, not expecting this match to go too well, although we did get some good Pokemon to start with. We've got the Glimmora, we've got the other Glimmora, actually, so we might just want to lead the game, actually, with this Glimmora. But unfortunately, my opponent is playing the Festival Grounds Stadium, which, okay, so this might actually just be, oh, what's it called? Festival Lead. So yeah, Festival Lead with Togekiss. I think someone suggested this actually in the comment sections of the channel. They were like, oh yeah, you should try Togekiss with the Festival Lead deck. But yeah, I'll have to see how this goes. My opponent will lead the game with Buddy, which is a bit annoying, you know, but we don't actually need masses to get this deck rolling. Like, we kind of need okay, that's a bit of a problem because they do 2-shot us, but we do need another energy at the very least. Okay, so Arven doesn't actually get us anything. Can Rock Chestplate, I guess. That kind of helps a bit. So I'll Rock Chestplate. I will, although if I get the other Glimmora, no, actually, it's not worth it. I'll just try and get energy. There's like 8 energy in deck. There's more chances of us finding energy, I think. So yeah, my opponent has to discard down to, I believe it's 3. Yep, 3. Had to double check that for a second. So yeah, they probably have to discard, I guess, like the Goldeen, which is probably the new Sea King. I'm assuming they might get rid of a Grookey as well. Probably these 2. Okay, yep. So I will Arven. Not Arven, that's a Judge. Ember, that's a Judge. And RIP, we don't get the energy. Fair enough. We wouldn't have got it anyway, with even with items, so it's not actually Budyu's fault for once, but hey, at least Budyu's not actually doing any damage because of Rock Chestplate. Okay, fine, you're evolving to Diplin. Cool. So yeah, takes 3 less damage from attacks. I think it's after applying weakness and resistance, though. Yeah, so, I mean, they do 40 damage, well, 20, and then, yeah, so negative 30 regardless. So that's absolutely fine. We won't have any items, but, I mean, they're not doing any damage right now, so... Boss. Okay, fine. This is going to get a bit annoying, I think, dealing with Budyus. Okay, fine, Budyu's about to take all 6 prizes, I guess. Okay, 1 energy. That's good, but it's not necessary. I will Arven. And what do we get? What do we get here? I think we get the Rocky Helmet, actually. Let's do a bit of trolling. We'll get the Rocky Helmet. I'll get a Crushing Hammer. I don't think it's relevant, but, like, I mean, we won't be able to play items anyway, so it's fine. Right, Rocky Helmet to this guy, so he takes 2 damage counters. Perilous Jungle, just because I don't want you to have your additional effects. And then I will end turn. So yeah, not got much going on here, except Rocky Helmet's obviously just going to mean that Buddy has to take 20 damage, which is nice, but it's not like super relevant or anything. I just thought it was funny. But yeah, so Buddy is going to come in here, finish off Glimmet for a prize card. Very strange game, this. My opponent does have a Diplin, but okay, Iono, that's good for us. That is good for us, because we don't have much going on in the hand. In fact, we had nothing going on. Okay, this is much, much better, actually. Much, much better. Cool. So we can Glimmora, although Glimmora does mean that they can one-shot it with Diplin, and then they get a free hit on Glimmora, potentially carrying that as well. So I think what we actually have to do is attack with Glimmora EX for now. I think that's what we need to do. So yeah. So yeah, Rocky Helmet won't do a thing in this matchup, really. It's just irrelevant, but it's quite funny to put Buddy down to 10 HP, but yeah. So Itchy Pollen comes in for the KO. If we had a boss, that'd be nice, just to remove their only attacker that's not Seeking, but, you know, because Seeking's not going to do any damage, really, so... It'd be glorious if we could top deck a boss's orders here. Please. Oh, okay, they're caught up in the discard thing. Ooh, that'd be great, actually, if they have to discard Seeking here. Okay, I really want a boss. Please. Boss, one time. And I can't boss for it. I can't Pokégear for boss because I've been Itchy Pollened. I could evolve here. Although they're not going to Itchy Pollen again, so... So I'll just leave it for now, I think. Yeah, I'll just wait. I don't need to do anything else. Poisonous Gem. Finally get a prize card. But you took a prize, that's quite funny. So yeah, Poisonous Gem. We do get a prize at least. My opponent does have a very limited board state, so they're probably looking to get a one-shot with their Diplin in their next turn. Which, if they can do, is really bad for us, but... Okay, Rock Chestplate. Yeah, that would have been nice, I guess, but we didn't have one in deck anyway, so attaching the Rocky Helmet beforehand was fine. So yeah, Rock Chestplate on this one does mean that we're at least a bit more protected, but, you know, not by much, so... I do think Glimmora will get one shot here, and if that's the case, then I do think we might just lose, but... Okay, Togekiss, fine. It's whatever. Okay, that's bad. So if they didn't have that, then we would at least have been able to Perilous Jungle and use this one to get the KO on Diplin. But, like, they're not doing any damage, really. 50, okay. So they're not doing any damage at all. Okay, they're doing way less damage than I thought they were doing. This is such a strange matchup, because, like, they should be really good against us, but at the same time... Okay, that's good, we're getting energy. Right, energy. Chestplate. We do need the chestplate. I think I'll just evolve here, actually. Yeah, I'll just evolve here, then they have to take 4 prizes. Good Night Stretcher for another one, but we don't have the energy, we can't evolve it, there's no point. Poisonous Gem. Swing in for a prize card. It's been a very weird game. Now, they don't have another attacker, though. So my opponent is faced with either keep going for another turn, but of course we can try and Gust, so we can always try and Gust. That's a Judge. Don't really want a Judge because we don't want to disrupt them because they've got nothing really. So yeah, we want Pokégear for boss. And my opponent just concedes anyway. Fantastic. Yeah, not the most competitive matchup, but you know, Glimmora did its job against arguably, well, a very scary. Well, Dipplin can be scary sometimes, but yeah, you know, it's fine. It's what it is.